now the Renekton is open, which I don't think you first pick. I think you take the Lucian here, yeah. And you make sure that you're in an okay spot. Betty and Woody could potentially respond with something like you try and take away the Nami, like we've seen, try and put it up with a Draven or something along those lines. We know from RNG back in the day that he used to play a little bit of it, but that's still a rough time.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. Let's see, Vi is up.
And
All
Taliyah's
right.
there as well. Vi, Taliyah, a pairing as old as time.
That's a perfect combo.
This is why we don't talk about it, isn't it?
I think you take the Zeri. I think you still take the Vi though, because it gives you the opportunity to try and play off of mid-wave and disrupt the Lucian a little bit. Because more than likely, you'll get Shun going back towards something like the Maokai in response.
Yep.
You can still play relatively well around that mid lane, but it does mean that you've got an answer into Lucian for these team fights, and option to go towards the Lulu if you really want to. But more than likely, we'll see something taken for Maple in this third position on red side. Take the Taliyah, take something that can work well with this, and then you've got a great team fighting composition already laid out by PSG.
Yeah, definitely like to see this. Denying the Vi, make sure they can't lock down that Zeri. The classic matchup, the Lucian and the Zeri. Lucian Nami, Zeri Lulu, the classic. What about the final lock-in here for the first round for BLG?
What do you think, Taliyah?
I think we Maokai.
Maokai's a good one.
I feel like Taliyah's a really good denial.
They've really liked Jarvan in this series so far.
Like, if you give over Vi Taliyah, then your mid lane is just under so much pressure. And in the last game, Knight on the Orianna was picked off a whole bunch there.
I think the biggest problem now, though, is you get to ban the Maokai, you can ban Sejuani, and then, yeah, Jarvan, but you've already got Zeri, who's going to be very mobile and easy to get away from that. You're not really going to have too many threats that you can keep locked down, especially if you want to go back towards the Aurelion Sol too. So this is where I think it does get difficult for BLG. Maybe you get something like a Viego or something along the lines of a Lee Sin, but honestly, I think that is still a win for PSG in that scenario. But Xin Zhao, maybe for Shun? That's the only other thing I can think of.
Okay, well maybe they start banning it away. I mean, you've already got JunJia on something again that can be proactive to level 6 mark. It's something we'll talk about extensively, I know. I like that you mentioned the Xin Zhao. Maokai's also something that's through our minds. The Jarvan we've seen a lot here that can also sync up with the Taliyah. What else am I missing here? What hits the spot here that PSG want to prep for on 4?
But this is what I was saying, right? Ban the Sejuani, ban the Maokai. These are both answers into Vice that does well, and also the lockdown that you kind of want for the Zeri in these sort of situations. So getting her off the board is going to be fantastic. The only other thing I could potentially see is getting rid of a Renekton here in this last rotation for PSG, because you are worried about maybe a flash stun onto Lulu in the middle of these team fights. But honestly, with the wild growth and the potential for a Whimsy coming through, I don't think you're, a polymorph I should say, I don't think you're particularly worried about that.
But surely the last bit we need to mention is, aren't you worried about Ksante coming through here blind as well for PSG, for what we saw before when you already have Zeri Lulu? What?
I think BLG will have learned from their mistakes. Like, let's be real, BLG were the ones in the lead and through, so if they can clean that up, I wouldn't be surprised to still see them lean into some sort of early game aggression. There's also the option here, if you really want to go for the, well, the Maokai's going to be left open, but maybe we actually do see Bin go for something like the Jax that is often banned against him, where he's like, look, I've had to keep these gloves on for way too long. Let me at Azhi, let me take the gloves off and just go at him.
Meanwhile, Maple's champion pool here is getting whittled down pretty heavily. BLG with another possible protection one here. I mean, do you even take out like the Karma and stuff that he was playing? Like,
ASOL gone.
The ASOL was massive in the last game. Just make sure that there isn't going to be that scaling net if you do throw.
I think you just go back towards the Orianna. Not great in the side lane, which is the only downside when you do imagine it's going to be locked. But I think the combo is there. But Neeko works very well in that regard as well. Follow up for the Vi. Great opportunity to try and keep BLG at range as well, because the second Lucian starts to come in with a culling, that's when you can try and come in here as Maple and make sure that he's vulnerable.
Yeah, this was a huge champion for Maple, for PSG this year. So much playmaking potential. A lot of CC setting up here. Honestly, they're setting themselves up for a pretty good lane swap opportunity too, if you have the Zeri Lulu. Let's see on the side of BLG and the answer here, because they are going to have to blind for Bin.
Wukong will be interesting. Something we talked about coming in for JunJia, but
Wukong Ksante combo maybe?
Yeah. Grasping at straws, let's find out. We're
they keep on shouting out the Vayne, but I really do.
The crowd is getting baited. They're like, oh yeah, Vayne, let's go.
Yeah, there it is.
You've had it enough, and yeah, Bin this time on the Ksante seems like the mainstay, and a nice round out for BLG's comp.
Yeah, I think here you could end up just going back towards the Udyr if you want to as Azhi and just look to be a frontline tank, which wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. And the other option is to try and go for a little bit more sideline pressure with something along the lines of a Twisted Faith if you really wanted to. But personally, I think just Azhi being a tank for this squad is more than likely we'll see the direction PSG go with it.
Let's see what it is in the end. Again, crowd simmer down. Guys getting baited in, there's no way. I mean, as Dagda said, Azhi on tank duty on something that can role play, I think, is what helped them win last game. That's how they got game 2 and made such a comeback when BLG threw it away.
Yeah, become a big fan of this Urgot after the early stages of play-ins, with it having a lot of success in the hands of Whippo in their first round matchup. Not so much the second time.
I think we do have to see if Azhi's learned from game number 1 though. Bin 800 gold lead coming out of the laning phase before we had the big pop-off skirmish, which kind of broke the game open. So Azhi definitely needs to have a more comfortable matchup against Bin if you hope to lean into a mid-game where PSG Talon can go toe-to-toe against BLG.
Well, scaling for them was what won it in game number 2. They've got a Zeri Lulu. The question everyone wants to ask is, can they get there again? Now, let's be real. Everyone at home is saying, man, BLG had that, they threw it away. Yes, they definitely gave the window of opportunity to PSG, but PSG still had to be there to take it. And a lot of people, when PSG went up against FlyQuest, thought it was a done deal as well. They thought FlyQuest were going to walk over them. They thought BLG were going to walk over them. But now we're in a game 3 where PSG came in under the rug, slipped in, pulled the rug out. BLG like, what the hell just happened? And now you have to question,
well, I guess they slipped on the rug.
And now they've got cold feet, and you got to wonder if coming into this game whether they're going to be able to recover.
How can you? You need a rug. Where's the rug gone? PSG took it backstage. Maybe they burnt it, and now BLG are barefoot. Now what do you do?
And they have to see if they're coming off their back foot. Because they want to see if they're going to be able to come into this game with a strong step forward, especially in the early game. And Elk got his spot on Betty. All right, Kobe.
Okay.
How you feeling?
Well, I'm feeling comfortable because we're going back to one of the matchups that we have a lot of tape on. The Lucian Nami versus the Zeri Lulu. But Nidus coming down to poke around in these early level 1 trades as well.
Maple's there to match. Just a quick tidbit. Game 2, did you notice that everyone was quiet? The audience weren't really gyroing. And then game 3, the whole BLG fans rile up again. They're like, well, we need to refuel our team. After that last game, they need to recover. They need to bounce back. PSG feel like they have a mental edge, as nothing's going to happen in the end. It looks like pretty standard lanes, actually, which is good for Elkanon when you consider how their Lucian Nami's gone in the past and how we know Lucian Nami should go.
This has definitely been the comfort for Elkanon, and they are very, very good at getting leads on this champion.
Yep.
So we'll have to see if they're going to be able to do so. Again, I think you've got great opportunities as BLG to lend yourself off of Elk in mid-game into side lane pressure. I wouldn't be surprised if they did again, but nice job here by Azhi, just getting that invade on top side and pushing Shun back.
Yeah, Urgot on the level 1 with the power from the passive, the shotgun knees, uses his time, gets the deep ward, plus delays jungle a bit. Very, very good top lane strategy there. Very repeatable for even everybody at home in solo Q2. If you do have a good level 1, go in. Always worth it to get that super deep ward so you can track the enemy jungler pathing away from your side of the map down towards bot.
Yeah, it does upset me that Azhi's knees get stronger with time, whereas mine get weaker with time.
Right. And that comes down to the carpet again, Dagda. I'm just going to tell you that, man. Everything's related to the feet as the all-in comes through from Elkanon. Actually, a summoner burn here from Betty. Well, again, that heal was burnt from On. Good tidal wave, or rather ebb and flow, as On just takes the Glitterlands as a trade. Doesn't hit Elk on the back end. Betty and Woody now at half HP, but the same can be said from Elkanon.
I was curious to see what the pathing here was going to be from Shun, because he got pushed out. Ooh, hang on.
All in. Does it backfire? That's the question. Double tap, though. Elk finds a better trade. Betty's low, Elk is low.
And you always want to do this a lot because you have a sustained advantage for the Nami here with the heals coming out.
True.
They already worked their way through the barrier shield on Betty, so they've got the summoner spell advantage. They have the sustained advantage, but not jungle advantage.
Might not be right.
Jungle!
The flash forward. Betty goes forward. Elk thinks about it, but here we go. The flash Q. Onto Elk. He flashes, matches now. On's in trouble, though. The ebb and flow brings him back as the flash is burned in the end. The shock of the E from JunJia.
Wukong.
Can he do anything, though? I think the play's already done.
And now you get the push in from PSG on the bottom side. They will get to reset faster and be able to come into the bottom side. So JunJia doing some good work in the early game to get both summoners out of BLG's bot lane.
My God. Elk lucky to be alive.
That is so critical, because now you don't have to worry about extending that bottom lane stay and the sustain. You get the recall off too. Not only does JunJia trade flashes with Elk and force out the extra summoner, but he also allows Betty and Woody to get the crash, get their reset.
Also just buying time where Shun won't be on this bottom side anymore. He's going to need to clear out this bottom side. He'll maybe try and go back onto the top side to get himself a scuttle crab, but he's going to reset, and there's no reason then for him to be on this bottom half of the map. So you actually buy space for Betty and Woody now to continue just fighting solo in that bot side without any jungle intervention from BLG.
I think so far in this series, what we've been talking about mainly is just how good JunJia is at reacting to the game state of BLG. Even in that game one that was a loss, JunJia was fantastic.
And I think JunJia has been so impressive ever since he's come into the PCS.
Yep.
The fact that he's found his confidence that he just didn't have when he was on EDG to step up and be 3 times finals MVP in the PCS, step up for PSG Talon alongside legendary mid laners like Maple,
Yep.
and take over. It feels like JunJia's finally found his stride consistently, and we get to see him at his best now on the international stage.
Truly has been critical for PSG, and neither jungler going for the recalls either. Still 4.5 minutes into the game, and we're gonna have the Krug start up there for JunJia. Meanwhile, slight visit for Shun will be seen on that ward, so it doesn't affect Aj's lane at all as the fireworks continue bottom.
They really do. Elk with some good sidestepping, and again, the trades are starting to build up. Remember sustain that Toby talked about, but Woody's shielding is still something to think about too. Betty hits level 4. Elkin on back off a little bit here as the wave crashes in and health bars go back up.
It is going to be a biscuit diff for Elkin on, though. Elk having his still available means he'll be able to top himself up and move in towards another scrap. As you can see already, the refillable potion is completely gone on both sides of the equation. So this is now going to be a scrap that BLG are just waiting to take into their hands.
Nice to see Betty and Woody stepping up. You can also see Maple thinking about walking down now that he's level 6.
Yeah, he's halfway there already, so Elkanon better be careful.
The engage is there, the heal is there, also the barrier. He gets polymorph for a bit as Elka's run low on mana.
On has his heal in just a couple of moments, so we'll be able to pick that one up.
Maple's got flash, he's level 6.
The all-in's gonna be there over the wall. It's a game-making play. He flashes,
He
he's out
misses.
of range! Maple was so close and Elk just has to emote on him.
Yikes. Oh my goodness. I mean, the comms as well, you know, Knight is very clearly telling them, hey, could be the roam there. The positioning from Elk on the bottom side, and they just walk it off. Oh man, Maple. It's okay.
But that is massive now for, hey, Dragon is up, Void Grubs are up, a potential roam onto this bottom side is up. There's so much that you can do now with BLG, knowing that both the Flash and the Ultimate have been burnt by me.
I love that you mentioned that. The Flash is down as well. The playmaking tool that everyone knows about Neeko. For Maple, a big commitment, but a big failure in the bottom side as well. Maybe could have changed the game, maybe could have continued changing the series. PSG still taking the Dragon though, Dagda, as the push still came in and Betty and Woody had priority in this bottom lane.
Yeah, it should be the trade for the Void Grubs getting started up there by Shun, the Wukong. And the extra experience off Void Grubs is going to be quite nice for getting the Wukong to level 6. Shun then look for his flash play. Flash plus level 6 is really your first like fun moment for Wukong here for jungle. You really get to have some influence, and unfortunately for Maple, he might be a target with having used his flash offensively on the bottom side. You know, it's either mid lane or bottom lane where Shun probably going to go use his flash ulti.
Yeah, that to observers. I love the new HUD. The experience tracker is so important. We always talk about level 6s and who picks them up first, what champion, why is it important. JunJia just hit 6. We saw that on the side of our screen. Elkanon still without the 6 tools themselves as the wave's crashing in.
And look at where Shun is. He's gone in to steal away the Red Buff on the top side. So again, PSG, they're beating BLG to the punch here.
Such a different look, but the wave ain't there. It's going to push out, and as it gets thinned out, now they're going to see if Elkanon move up.
Yeah, Elkanon do have some summoner spells here too to outplay, and so wave about to crash.
But low mana bars, what's going to do it? Looking for the level 6, heal comes through, JunJia matches, as the flash comes through, the cease and desist. First blood for PSG. JunJia on the back end looking for the next trade as plate's taken. JunJia about to die, flashes on in, runs on in, on's out in the meantime, and JunJia overstepped. Knight for the trade-off as Maple now rolls on in, but he's got no flash. Knight saves the day from the play, going any further.
PSG needed to make that play work. Everything on the top side was being stolen by Shun apart from Krug, so if JunJia didn't make that play happen, he would have been so far behind. But getting the kill, denying the wave, getting Knight's ultimate as well is huge for PSG.
And again, all of the summoner spells off this Lucian Nami lane. The bot lane focus in both games early for PSG. Yeah. Right there with the flash, ultimate follows through, so JunJia is able to get that one. And then the repeat gets a little bit dicey, but they have Betty tank the shot.
But then he moves from aggro.
Yeah, Betty could only tank one shot. Yeah. And so he had to get out of there after that one. They couldn't finish off the repeat there onto On. Then they rotate him on over to the mid lane here.
Elk through mid now for the time being, though. There's the lightning crash down there, flash on top, and Elk gets taken out by Betty! We go back to that head-to-head record, and Betty starts styling again!
Betty with the flashes! That's the electric Pikachu! Oh my goodness, he goes for the Summoner Spell advantage play, level 6, blows him up.
This is supposed to be the best bot lane in the LPL, and JunJia is helping Betty and Woody's style on them right now. And with that, you just don't get control of the mid wave in the same manner you need to. You get to start to look for team fights. You get to look for dragons, for boy grubs in a minute and a half. This is a massive win for PSG.
PSG in their heads after the last game. It's a 1K gold lead in the early game. The dragon stacking begins with a Zeri Lulu. Betty now with resources. I mean, it feels like FlyQuest all over again, where the scaling element of PSG gets more in the early game than you'd expect them to get.
Betty's got his static shift done here as well. Better watch out. Scuttle Crab picked up as well there for PSG. The confidence, though.
Yeah.
Summoner spell advantage immediately punished. And now the bottom lane becomes so difficult. You've got fully completed static shiv advantage here.
Yep.
But you also just don't really win in a 3v3 skirmish, because you can see what Betty can do. Elk thinks he's got the advantage, but takes 2 tower shots. Then the ult from Betty comes through, and he's like, it's game time. Flashes over the wave from On, which was perfectly timed. I'm not gonna lie, On's bubbles haven't been hitting the way they should be, which is giving this space now to PSG's bot lane.
Yeah, hard to nail down with all the extra move speed there, and Betty makes him pay for it. He's got his barrier now as well for a possible barrier bait play, and JunJia's back bottom. JunJia with his ultimate ready. Here we go.
All in, Pop Blossom comes down, but Shun's waiting in the wing. Cyclone comes out, that forces the flash from Maple. Ult and flash down again from Maple that BLG capitalize on.
Ult down from Shun as the 43-second mark ticks on towards Dragon, though. Means you can reset and come back out. Maple not having his ult is actually pretty impactful, though, so JunJia gonna see if he can look for the pick beforehand. TP to mid, Shun moving down to try and cover the play.
One gets tagged on the way through as well. PSG have the wave pushing in, and it feels like Dragon could be a done deal. It's a good timer there. Dagda has been trying to get something in his solo lane.
And as long as you're able to keep this pressure as PSG Talon on the bot side, deny the reset from Elk, he can't match the first item buy that Betty already has picked up. So that's why you're seeing a ton of pressure on this bottom side to try and get an awkward back timer, even interrupt the back timer with the static shiv there.
Got him with the bounce. Elk gonna stick around now. Dragon coming up pretty shortly as well, so more and more advantages as they force him to watch. Turret play in your face. Should be Dragon number 2 for PSG.
And JunJia is the biggest bouncer in this game. This man has just set himself up in this bot side river and gone, no, I will not take top camps.
Yeah.
I will not go and take my next turn. I will sit in this bottom side and make sure Betty and Woody get to play however they want. Elk has just got the reset now in that bot lane. He did get the static shiv, but the Dragon has already been taken.
And like, there's a lot of questions online and both by the desk and even the casters about like, what was the best lane setup coming into this series? In standard lanes, no doubt, BLG have been thwarted through bot. The fact that JunJia's adaptation was so big, you can see the trade-off is going to be this top side for grubs, but it's just crazy again that PSG are setting themselves up for Dragon stacking, which is going to lead to a Cloud Soul, which is so OP for a Zeri.
Yeah, I mean, both games, they clearly came into this series with the plan.
Yep.
We must focus bot camp, try and keep down Elk and On, and this game is going so much better even than the last one.
Especially when you think about having the Wukong, he just hasn't had that impact early game, and JunJia's done a good job of taking that advantage and running with it. Now he's going to turn out to Shun with Azhi.
For the counterplay as well, predicts where the Wukong clone goes. Shun now thwarted away again. There's a bit of turret plate damage though from Elkanon, thanks to them having 6 grubs as they push it for the next.
And this is why I wasn't a big fan of the Wukong when it got locked in draft.
Culling.
It feels like you just can't play around the lanes, but now on
That was
Dirty the
Culling.
business
He
end of a
committed
punch.
forward as well. Cease and desist is up and it locks down this AD carry, flush away from the Aqua Prison, and fear beyond the death and the death of BLG in this game 3.
JunJia Vi does it again. This champion is so good. The guaranteed engage right over the wall. The flash used. They get Elk again. 0-3 for Elk.
And BLG have to be sweating. The fact that now you've got 2 kills and assist over to Betty. The objectives are going to be PSG's favor. Yes, the gold is slightly close, but this team fighting composition that PSG have is going to be massive. And you don't have a massive lead on Bin. You don't have a massive lead on mid lane. This is a big, big position for PSG to come into game 3 as.
It might be caught out as well too. You can see the flip is buffered out, and Woody's down here with the slowing Glitterlands too. It's going to be Bin ghosting, but Arja still on the chase. Maybe he gets out and PSG leave him in peace, but still a summon a burnt while Herald is the trade for BLG top.
Yep, they're going to get that objective. Should be able to just push out mid there for PSG. Aji going to focus on finding
Almost.
Bin, but doesn't quite get there in time.
Back to where in the nick of time. What is happening, by the way?
PSG are playing with so much confidence here.
Yeah.
Off of their victory, coming into this one with a very comfortable draft for themselves, having Betty back on this Zeri, this scaling champion here with the Lulu to back him up, focusing bottom side so nicely. JunJia providing them all the cover that they need on the famous Vi.
He just loves this bottom side. Dagda's point continues all about the bot side jungle, whether it's enemy or not. On the note of Betty as well, dude, this guy is so great on scaling, even on anyone's legend. When he was in the LPL, he was great at team fighting. Jinx was his primary pick, and you could always rely on him for team fighting, like last game, and especially this game, as he stacks up to 3 items.
BLG are trying to split the map right now. You can already look, push in mid. They had a ton of control on bot side for PSG. They want the tier 1, but BLG want to respond on top side. Maple needs to be very careful underneath this tower that he doesn't fall, but he's not giving an inch. He's just going to reset, make sure that there's nothing that BLG can get on the counter punch as PSG get the bot lane turrets.
All right. All of this hype off of the upsets, and yet BLG still should be able to finish up this outer tower here.
Okay.
To catch right back up. They also do have the 6 Void Grubs for split pushing to acquire a lot of the standing tower gold. They've got the Herald.
See the lane economy snapshot there. Big wins for Betty on that bottom half of the map, and again it feels like you can't really contest mid-wave in the same way you would traditionally see BLG do with this Lucian Nami comp because of how far ahead Betty is. And as you start to lean towards Dragon in 45 seconds, that's where you can start to shove in mid, start to lean down onto this bottom side. Although as I say that, because you get to skip the boots here, Kirche Shard for Elk, he's kind of firing on all cylinders as well.
But let's see, is that movement speed going to be punished? Betty just runs on in and ult. He's up, cease and desist on Elk again. Caught on out as he flashes over. Betty's feeling the series. Pop Blossom comes up as well, and Shun's ulti's negated. PSG are taking everything from the LPL favorites. In a split second, MSI 2024 is turned on its head.
Where were you when the PCS rose up? They just run down BLG. As soon as you're on their screen, immediately they go after Elk again. That's 0-4. They're not even done.
They're still looking nice. Trust trying to get as much damage as he can down, but the Dragon is spawned. PSG have the position. And this was supposed to be a 3-0. This was supposed to be BLG sweeping the PCS, but that's not what's happening.
Getting Betty back on this team, pairing up with Maple on the international stage here, and allowing JunJia to get the Vi. JunJia Vi was such an amazing tool for them in the regular season. And Betty's got the confidence because he already has the lead on Zeri, and he's got Vi right behind him, so he knows he can just jump over the wall. And even they pushed back Shun there. He goes forward, gets the kill onto the Nami, the entire team here.
And again, it's BLG. It's BLG playing to where they're not supposed to be. It's BLG trying to force plays into this bottom side, but you just do not belong in that area.
Ooh.
But there's a Rift Helm.
Good skip
BLG,
though. Gets the
look at
charge in.
Azhi.
You mentioned Archer on the side here, no flash available, but fear beyond death. PSG are running on low mana bars here. Cullen comes out and tags them. BLG, we come back to reality, and suddenly this double mid push turns the play back on its head, and it's still dead even gold here. Remember, PSG got the sole point from that pick in jungle, but now mid is wide open.
All right, Dragon Soul points just under 4 minutes away here for PSG.
Okay, so that's what they play for. That's got to be the goal.
Should be okay with just having to retake vision control of your side of the jungle. There's just that one control ward to clean out. JunJia can just clear his Krugs away, no problem.
I want to see PSG get some of these standing towers though, because that's kind of the big thing at the moment. Yes, you have Betty very far ahead, but you need to try and play off and get that push in mid. Azhi's pushed out bot, but not grouping on mid wave means that you're still going to have these places of defense here for BLG. You want to give up next Dragon? Yeah, cool. You can get a tier 1. BLG are going to be fine with that.
Yep.
The BLG can also just play off of this mid lane turret to constantly defend the mid push, even shove out further than you really expect because 2 towers are gone for PSG Talon and can get in a good position for the Dragon contest. PSG need to use these next 2 minutes really well to crack open these standing structures for BLG.
Looking at items now, 2 here for the Zeri. Betty is cracking up to the 3rd. I think the biggest thing is we've almost got 2 items for Maple as well. Need to pause. Elk jumps forward.
Nobody gonna find anything just yet, but I am definitely looking at Knight like you're talking about, the double needlessly large rod, the death cap pretty close here for BLG. Knight on the Taliyah could be a big difference maker.
Waiting. Patient are the PCS. Elk steps up, good poke onto Betty. Knight doing the same, culling, brings it off at Maple. Flash, finds Elk, Tangle Bug, it's flashed out of in response. Shun gets an engagement, Maple's down, Archer TP's in as well. PSG have the disengage, BLG have found a pick, and no one dies on their side.
Maple tries to make the play, but just falls that little bit short as Elk is able to cleanse and flash away. They get the pick back, but now BLG, they want more!
They're not expecting a side shove away. Betty is lucky to be alive too. Woody gets poked on out. And just we're hyping up the PCS, there's starting to be this pick potential that we're going to worry for BLG.
Yeah,
Acro prison onto JunJia. Seismic shove there. You cannot sleep for a moment as Chengdu has woken up.
BLG do such a good job. Off of the pick towards mid lane, they invade jungle. They keep looking for the picks in transition and squeeze out even more off of their play. Finding the bubble into the shove back, plus they're going to get outer tower.
And now the perfect time for the reset as well, because as you shove in these waves, you pick up a second, the rapid fire cannon for Elk, the death cap for Knight, and you get to shove out the waves from your own turret. PSG have to fight from their own side of the map, but they might try and find the pick onto Bin beforehand.
Let's see if they find him though. He just shuffles his way out, but I want to mention to you guys that we've got Maple with no flash in that last play as well. We'll look at the replay here because that's something we have to look towards in the next Dragon.
And it's Elk playing very far forward. Maple tries to look for the play, but the follow-up just isn't quite there. The cleanse flash immediate from Elk, and Shun comes in with the ultimate in response, realizes Maple is overextended.
Yeah, the counter from On's Nami ult plus the Shun Wukong ult there, immediately taking him down in the counter. That ward you see also far up in mid lane, doing some work there for BLG.
And here's the tempo swing we were talking about with the push out in mid. Now PSG are the ones on the back foot. Bin's going to get to push out this bot wave. We'll have great flank opportunities onto PSG, who are just coming into the spot side completely dark. They're going to try and respond by playing off this mid wave.
All right, eyes on Betty. Betty with double summoner spells here.
Yep.
Plus the Lulu to back him up.
Shun is frontlining for the time being. Seismic shove away. Arja gets caught on up with the pebbles in the way. JunJia flashes, but it's a clone! Maple can't get in. He's ulted. Nothing. No flash on the Neeko. Hurts as a seismic shove. It's gorgeous! PSG, it's only one mistake. But BLG there waiting as Betty gets in the back line. The wild growth might bring the fight back, but Shun, double cyclone. It's enough! The golden left hand is still ready and willing. Woody is the remnant of this hope from the PCS. But again, we close our eyes, we open them once more, and BLG are back on.
And that's going to be Baron. They aced them. They wiped them off the map. Oh, JunJia's gonna want that one back. Sent everything there, but Shun's so quick with the Wukong clone. They are deceived.
And it's PSG that are deceased. BLG find the fight that they needed, and a huge amount of it is BLG. We thought they were flipping it, but it's actually setting up for Nice with the flips. Shun doesn't get caught. Maple overextends, and watch the flick here as Azhi and Maple caught. Finn goes forward, and then again, Nice goes forward into the pit, and Betty sees his chance. This is the separation, this is the fight. He immediately goes forward, but again, it's a flick with the setup coming through from BLG to take down the threat on PSG Talon.
All right, back at the Dragon, trying to rush down the Dragon's soul.
Okay, if they get Cloud Soul, we're back in the swing of PCS as Shun jumps on in, looking for the steal at 2K, 1K. It goes down, Knight took it! Running on in, PSG now. Do they fight? Do they look for BLG's window as Betty runs forward again? This Zeri is everything here as Cullen comes through. JunJia is the new target. He's running away. The Vi needs to be healed up. But Redemption does it. But Shun's in. Cyclone again, backline. They're all together. Maple's too late. The mid laner from PSG saw it, but he's too damn late.
They're teleporting mid lane as well. They're gonna go straight for the inhibitor tower, chasing down Aegis.
I called them resilient. I called the PCS a surprise, but BLG, you can never doubt them. The aggression continues. Ben runs forward, ends his life. The ace, the open base, and BLG smack PCS in the face.
BLG, they find their moments. Once they get that one fight, that one opportunity, they completely blow open the game, and PSG Talon are left dizzy as the base is taken.
What resilience in the early game, but it's thrown back at them. The Nexus is still there. It's still BLG's. They're back, and now on match point.
Oh, it's one team fight where you have JunJia use his flash and the ultimate on the Wukong clone, and then Maple only gets the solo Neeko ultimate on a Ksante, and they just take the entire game away from you. You make that mistake in a team fight, and BLG will take it home.
BLG were still pushed. BLG were still threatened. One fight went astray, but that could have been a second game for PSG Talon, and you can see BLG do not look confident after that.
Coaches don't look happy at all. I mean, Dagda, you hit the nail on the head. They were pushed, and I'm hoping they get pushed again because I'm starting to love this series through and through. We'll throw to our analyst desk to break down that awesome